Do you remember when this character came out? Are you even aware that it came out? Yeah, apparently it's on Overwatch. And there was a massive push in the press and in the media to talk about this character because it's the first time ever we get to see a non-binary character in Overwatch. And all the journalists are applauding and everyone is celebrating and everyone is happy and excited. It's like, oh my god, oh, this character, ah. But what's interesting is that I don't see a lot of people identifying with this character. I don't see people using this character as their avatar. I don't see merchandise. I don't see fan art. I don't see a community building around it. But I do see the journalists go like, ah, so amazing, ah. And then you look at the competition.
Rage, money, power,
How long did it take? 12 seconds. 12 seconds and the comment sections are filled with people going, where's my wallet? Where's my, I need it now. I need my credit card. What game is this? I want to see. There's no controversy regarding this character. There's no, people suggesting that maybe you should make this character different. No. It's just like people, what game is this? I need it for research. Meanwhile, in Western AAA games, this is what we get. And this is what we got for the last 2 years or so. And every single time one of these characters come out, all the journalists and people with various flags and paraphernalia in their bio, they're like, ah, look at the character editor. Ah, so amazing. Look at it. Oh my god. Oh, it's so cool. It's so awesome. And if you dare criticize the character, they're like, oh, you are a gunner. Ah, you're the gunner. Oh, why are you gunning? Oh, you want to gun. I want to prevent you from gunning. I am going to turn you to Jesus Christ and the LGBT community. No gunners. No. Art is sacred. If you want violence, we have violence. If you want sexiness, no gunner. And it's to the point that every single female character needs to look like this in order to prevent the evil gunner. Oh, everything in the video game community is centered around the gunner. Oh, the male gaze. Because if it permeates into our society, we will never be safe again. So why is it though, right? Like why do they make these designs? And why do they make other decisions that are also mentally deficient? It's due to the ideology. You have the ideologues, and for the lack of a better term, people call them woke. But they are the ones that are pushing the mental insanity. And their mental insanity is like this, okay? People don't like rotten apples, but rotten apples are apples as well. So rotten apples need to feel included. And if we put pictures of rotten apples everywhere, and everywhere they look, people see rotten apples, people are going to appreciate rotten apples just like they're appreciating normal apples. Does this make sense? Is it mental retardation? Now, it's coming from the academia. And instead of those professors getting fired and mocked and ridiculed, they still have positions. They have tenure. They're the ones that just secreted this excrement into the wild. And for some reason, companies have been pressured in order to accept it. Because video game developers are influenced by game journalists, like their stocks are influenced by game journalists, which are staffed by people that have this ideology, that they're influenced by consultants. And usually game journalists will give games that hire the consultants better grades. Notice how Stellar Blade is not receiving the same acclaim like AAA games do. Notice how Wukong is not receiving the same acclaim. Why? Because they don't hire consultants. And if they don't hire consultants, the journalists, they nitpick, they don't like the game, they give bad reviews. Meanwhile, games like this, 10 out of 10 Kotaku, oh, so amazing, oh, Dragon Age, oh, the character creator, oh, right? Now, gamers are noticing this, and they're basically saying, who are you making these games for? Because when you look at the list, which Capcom released from their survey, you notice that the number 2 reason for people buying games are unique and attractive characters. The number 2 reason. And by the way, unique and attractive characters doesn't just mean that you sell your game. It also means that you sell merchandise. You sell t-shirts, you sell keychains, you sell hats, you sell action figures. There is literally no reason not to have unique and attractive characters. But again, the mental illness that we need to have rotten apples everywhere so that rotten apples get to feel included is mind-numbing, especially when the rotten apples themselves do not buy the games. So why do I say there is no such thing as anti-woke? It's because it means being a normal human being. That's what it means. There is no ideology that is anti-woke. Like people who are politically disconnected and do not know anything about the grand culture, they are seeing these games with eyesore of characters and they are not buying them. There is no problem right now. Oh, this inflation. Oh, the video game industry is collapsing. No, because if you were to apply the scientific method, you have the control group. You have games that are made in Asia. You have even games that are in AAA and they're just phone games like Nikkei and the one that I showed you earlier. And those are printing money. Like people are interested in this. And by the way, left-leaning people are interested in this as well. The only people that aren't interested in this are the people that are part of the LGBT community because they still have the fan service in the games. You still have the shirtless men. You still have like the queer fan service and you still have that. So they're happy, right? They just like, and I notice this a lot, like especially on Twitter. You see a person mocking you for liking heteronormative female characters. And when you go onto their account, it's like an altar dedicated to homosexuality. And you're like, look, I respect what you're into. Like, I'm not criticizing it. But why can't you be tolerant? And they will usually say, well, yeah, but like my thing is artistic. My thing is meaningful. My thing is such and such. So like anything that's outside of your realm of pleasure or your realm of interest is evil. Right? So the stuff that I'm watching is evil. The stuff that you're watching is good. And these are the people, the foot soldiers that basically call you a guner. The reason they call you a guner is because you're gunning to something differently that they do. And usually it's like furries and people that are into non-heteronormative relationships. And again, like I have no problem with what they like. I mean, go like what you like. It's fine. I'm not going to come up to you and be upset if you don't like the character depictions in a video game. I'll be like, okay, well, if he doesn't want to buy the video game, let the game developer know what his problem is. And if there's a market for what he wants, hopefully they will give it to him. Like, that's the normal and healthy reaction, right? But the problem is that the ideologues genuinely believe that if you put rotten apples in video games, it actually makes life better for rotten apples in real life, which is completely false, right? It just makes people feel disgusted because no one likes to eat rotten apples. So you get to see, on the menu rotten apples and people leave the restaurant. That's what's happening. It's not like your ideology is false. Like it's got a false premise. It's not going to make people say, oh, well, like these are apples too, so therefore I'm No, if you put unesthetically displeasing characters, if you put eyesores, people are just going to be repulsed by those characters and play something else. They're not people, by the way. Like, they're not human beings. They're a product. They're pixels on the screen. They're fictional. They're a product that's supposed to attract an audience because it's the number 2 reason why people play video games. Like, I'm sorry if you disagree with this. I don't know how else to tell you. Like, maybe you feel differently, and that's fine. But the rest of the gaming community doesn't. You do not have the audience to just keep shitting up games that have eyesore of characters unless you make a game which has exhilarating gameplay, right? So like this is the exemption of why Baldur's Gate 3 sold. Because despite the fact that the characters were mediocre, like they weren't absolutely ugly, but they were mediocre, but it did have exhilarating gameplay. The problem is that in order to create exhilarating gameplay is something very rare, right? Like not every single game is going to end up having the word exhilarating in it. So, unless you are confident that you can do this, then just have some unique and attractive characters. It's not fucking rocket science, Jesus Christ. And stop believing that, if you're going to have only the ugliest characters in the world, then people in real life are going to be attracted to ugly people. No, like attraction is not logical. It's not something that is trained by society, because if it was, the Christians would have been successful with praying the gay away. But it just doesn't work, right? Like, people are attracted to what they see. And when someone sees something good, they're going to go towards that. And you can't just like, oh, we're going to... I mean, literally, it's kind of the reverse of gay conversion therapy, what video game companies are doing right now. They're believing that if they put like some of the most, characters with skin disease and cellulitis and body type A, body type B, then this is going to become the new norm. This is what people are going to find attractive. And it's just like gay conversion therapy. Like, I'm sorry, but like straight people are attracted into things that are outside of their power. You know, like if you see a lady with big tits and a plump ass, you're going to be attracted to her. You can't help it. You can't will yourself to be attracted to something, and at the same time, if you are attracted to something, you can't will yourself to not be. So the ideology itself is rotten. The problem is that now, as I mentioned, you have people that formed entire careers around this ideology, like consultancy groups that work with companies and tell them, look, if you want to appeal to the wider audience, you got to add the skin disease. If you want to appeal to the wider audience, you can't use the word female. We had a game developer from Japan talk about this shit. And he was like, yeah, if you want to sell in America, you got to go with body type A, body type B. Like, there is so much evidence that this is happening at this point that if I have someone that asks me, like, what is woke in 2024, like, I'm sorry, I'm not even having a conversation. Get fucking educated. It's all over Google. It's all over Twitter. It's everywhere. Like, it's not even possible that you can't find out what it is. So the only reason you're asking this question is because you're pedantic and disingenuous. And I have already made video covering what is woke. Go watch them. But anyway, right, so there is no such thing as anti-woke. The reality is that you have ideologues that infested the gaming industry only in the West, and now they're starting to infest it in Japan. It started in 2016. Before 2016's game didn't have this problem. They don't have this problem in China. They don't have this problem in Korea. And certain indie games don't have this problem, right? So like anti-woke is reversing the change. Get the fuck out. Stop it. It's not working. Now you can keep doing it and we're going to keep mocking and laughing at your products. That's also acceptable, but we can remain disinterested longer than it can stay solvent. So a lot of gamers are just pissed off. They want to play good games. And they're very vocal about what they want. And if you keep giving eyesore after eyesore, they're just going to stop buying your shit. As simple as that. It's not political. Like, what? Do you think, like, anti-woke people are, like, have this idea? No, we don't have any ideology. No. My wife was not political at all. She doesn't even know what a Democrat is. She doesn't even know what identity politics are. She's looking at these games. It's like, no, I don't want to play that. Why would she? It looks awful. Number 2 reason, unique and attractive characters. And not to mention, most woke ideologues, they fuck up with number 3 as well. Unpredictable and exciting storyline. Almost every single theme is anti-capitalistic on the surface. Did you notice that shit? Capitalism evil, but they never have the banker as the villain. They never have like the left-leaning politician that's working with NGOs to launder money. Like they're gathering money for the poor and then giving it to the NGOs and none of the money go to the poor, right? Like they never tackle actual themes. They never tackle like a corporation that's working with politicians and shit. Like a social media company working with politicians and in order to censor on behalf of that politician and gets his opposition persecuted. They never do that. Did you notice it? Very interesting. But, like a surface level, yeah, sure. Oh, yes, capitalism bad. Just not the banker. Yeah. So they don't really do number 2. They don't really do number 3. And if they manage to somehow pull off a number 1, you get a Baldur's Gate 3 game, right? But it's very difficult to pull up a number 1, which is why most woke games are shit. Meanwhile, you have mediocre games, just mediocre bland shooters that have ladies with big tits, like I showed you in the commercial, and they're printing money. And they're printing money not because they're really amazing games, but it's because the competition decides to sabotage itself. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.